Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Sergey from MMA Soap Opera, cause that's what it is. If you're into sport of MMA, into UFC, all the drama that is happening in the background, make sure to hit subscribe and ring the bell to this channel so that you don't miss any upcoming videos, because that's exactly what we're talking about in here. And this week, of course, the talk of the town is the next matchups for both Khamzat Chimaev and Ilia Topuria after their incredible wins at UFC 308, and I would really love to share my 2 cents on this. So let's talk about Khamzat Chimaev and what is next for him. So of course, he just got an extremely dominant win against Rob Whittaker. I was really shocked by the way it ended because it was super fast. Rob Whittaker actually just came up with a video where he's talking a little bit about the issues that he had with the teeth. He wasn't making any excuses or anything like that, but he was just saying that he is kind of suffering with a little bit loose teeth. So if you combine that with probably extreme pressure by Khamzat Chimaev and his squeeze, yeah, it was basically inevitable that something like this would happen. I have to be honest, I'm still kind of worried about weight because in the past couple years he did have a lot of problems with weight cuts, and I'm not sure if this is some sort of a conspiracy theory. I know that they extended the weigh-in time this time around from 1 hour to 2 hours. Yeah, a little bit crazy. I'm not surprised that there's a conspiracy theory that they extended the weigh-in time just so that Khamzat Chimaev could weigh in properly and make the fight. But also, I talked to one of my friends and his reaction to this was that they are most likely trying to save Khamzat Chimaev's reputation as well, which I wouldn't be surprised because he's one of the UFC's biggest stars. So yeah, if we forget this concern about him being still slightly unreliable, I think it's kind of undeniable for him to go and fight for the belt next. So where does that lead us? Khamzat Chimaev's next fight is going to be for the belt. But that does not mean that the next fight for the belt is going to involve Khamzat Chimaev, because it really does seem like DDP and Sean Strickland and kinda UFC are counting on putting those two together and having a rematch for them. But if you look on the timeline, like that fight could potentially happen in like what, maybe January, February, something like that. So that's only a couple of months from now. Then we have Ramadan, of course. Isn't it like February 2025 this time around? But regardless, after the Ramadan, I think that it would be really good time for Khamzat Chimaev to actually have the fight against the winner of DDP and Sean Strickland, which could theoretically be within like what, 7-8 months from now. Yeah, I think that would be kind of reasonable. But apart from Khamzat Chimaev fighting for a middleweight belt, I gotta be honest, I'm kind of a little bit more excited about him going up in a weight class, because in my opinion there are just more exciting matchups in there for him. By doing that, we would avoid any potential issues with the weight cut. And also think about these matchups. If we look at the top 10 of light heavyweight, Khamzat Chimaev against Johnny Walker, Khamzat Chimaev versus Khalil Roundtree, Khamzat Chimaev against Jan Blachowicz, Khamzat Chimaev against Jiří Procházka versus Ankalaev, Khamzat Chimaev against Magomed Ankalaev would be an incredible fight. And then of course the big fight would be Khamzat Chimaev against Alex Pereira. In my opinion, that's much more exciting weight class for him. But of course, while he's in the middleweight, we should take advantage of this, especially since he's healthy right now. So yeah, my hope for Khamzat Chimaev in next 2 years is that he's gonna win against a winner of Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis. Then maybe he defends the belt against Israel Adesanya. That would be super exciting. Wouldn't be too good for Izzy though. And then after either Nasruddin Imavov or Caio Borralho. That's 3 fights in the coming 2 years. He could easily squeeze in one more fight. And after that, I would just put him in the light heavyweight, possibly for double champ status. So yeah, that is my hope for Khamzat Chimaev. Hopefully he will be a little bit more active this time around. Hopefully we won't have to wait another 1 year till we see him in Octagon. So yeah, I'm super excited about what's coming for Khamzat Chimaev. Alright, now let's talk about Ilia Topuria versus potentially Alexander Volkanovski. So what do we think about it? In my opinion, that's the matchup to make. I understand that a lot of people are worried because Volkanovski, of course, just got knocked out twice. However, if you think about it, Alex Volkanovski was of course a featherweight champion and he defended the belt 5 times, okay? He's undefeated in a featherweight division. He lost only once, which was his last fight against Ilia Topuria. In my opinion, and I said it in the last video as well, there's no other fighter on the UFC roster that deserves a rematch more than Alexander Volkanovski. Then the next thing, of course, if we think about it, Volk versus Topuria 1 happened on 18 February this year. Realistically speaking, when could those guys fight next? It's probably not gonna be before the end of the year. It's most likely gonna be like, what, what, January, February next year? Maybe even later if Topuria says no to the fight in Australia. So that would of course mean that Alexander had at least 1 year to heal up from the last knockout, which according to a lot of health experts is a really good time for the brain to heal up. So yeah, in my opinion, this would be a really good matchup. Much better matchup that a lot of the people are saying. Like, what are we doing if we're not giving Alexander Volkanovski the rematch? Are we trying to save him from getting knocked out again? Dude, the guy is an absolute stud. Did we forget who is Alexander Volkanovski? He had enough time to heal up. He knows exactly what is getting himself into, and he is a guy with incredible skills and a lot of experience. So in my opinion, this is his time. In my opinion, this is the rematch that we have to do. And of course, if he loses this match, no more rematches for Volkanovski. He will have to go and fight contenders in top 5 and build himself up again. We'll see what is gonna happen, but in my opinion, this is his time and he should rightfully get the rematch with Ilia Topuria. We just cannot deny him. It would be incredibly unfair. Now, a lot of people are saying that Diego Lopes should go and fight Topuria instead. I disagree. In my opinion, Lopes is really close, but I would love to see him against one more contender. I just can't shake off the feeling that he's still a little bit unprepared for this. You could easily, of course, have Lopes as a backup fighter for the Volkan Topuria fight, but my preferred matchup for him would be a rematch against Movsar Evloev. Like, those two fighters have a really great history together. Of course, Diego Lopes jumped on a short-term notice against Movsar Evloev like what, year and a half ago, something like that. And even though Movsar is booked to fight Aljo on UFC 210 in December, I really believe that this is much more exciting fight for both Movsar and Diego Lopes. And when it comes to Aljo, I would much rather see him against, for example, Yair Rodriguez. That would be an incredible fight. So yeah, it seems like Ilia Topuria versus Alexander Volkanovski is the fight to make. Both fighters really want this rematch. It seems like UFC is not against it either. So let's just book it ideally for like February or March. That way Alex is gonna have a little bit extra time to heal up. I think there's gonna be a lot of hype around it. I think this is a great matchup and this is the right matchup to make, in my opinion. Alright guys, this was it for today's video. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit like. Don't forget to also subscribe and ring the bell so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. And with that being said, this was Sergey from MMA Soap Opera, because that's what it is.